Hi guys, welcome to Dragon's Cave. My name's Karen. I recently did a BeeBeeCraft unboxing video. So in this video I'm actually going to use some of their molds. They're a little egg shaped mold, kind of like a tea light holder I assume. Comes in two parts. I actually got 5 of these in the set from BeeBeeCraft. So what I'm going to do, because if you've seen any of my videos, you know I almost always use fillers, save on resin, and it means I can pour deeper than I normally would be able to with the type of resin that I use. So I use Resin Pro Eye Crystal, which normally it says you can only pour up to about this depth, but with filler obviously you can go much deeper because there's not so much resin in there. So I'm going to do one with this pink decorative sand, and I'm also going to put some of this fantasy purplish mica powder in with that. I'm going to do this one with doesn't really show very well on camera, but it's kind of a baby pink, but I'm going to mix that with some sparkling red pearl mica powder, and this one I'm going to do in this green decorative gravelly sand, and a satin green interference powder with that. So I'm just going to go and mix up my resin, get my PPE on, and I'll be back in a sec. Bye. Hi, we're back. So I've mixed up 150 grams of Resin Pro Eye Crystal. I've split it into roughly three roughly equal cups. I'm going to start with actually I'm going to put the mica powder in first, if that makes more sense. You don't really need the mica powder with the coloured stones. I just like to have this. It helps partly to disguise the stones, but it also gives it a nice colour. Don't know how much each of these molds is going to take, but if I haven't mixed up enough, I'll steal some from another cup and mix up another batch. And if I've mixed up too much, I've got another mold on standby here. Now I know using wooden sticks, they say adds bubbles, but the way I mix adds bubbles anyway. And also this gravel is going to introduce a lot of bubbles. Start with that. Ooh, dusty. Give it a good mix in. I prefer to put the filler into the resin rather than the other way around, because I find it helps to release the bubbles easier. Nice scrunchy noises. That is. Looks like plastic just came out of the bottle. Rid of that. Okay, I may have overdone that just slightly. Yeah, just a little. I'm going to let that sit for a minute and see how much more resin I need to add once it's all kind of got the bubbles out of it. It's actually not too bad, but I'm going to let it sit and mix up the next one. Another stick. actually remember to open the bags before putting my gloves on this time, which is a bit of a novelty for me. I usually end up having to fight. Although these, the colours that I have in bags, I've had for a long time, 3 years or more. They came in a very big set that I got when I first started doing resin. Ones I bought lately tend to come in pots. Okay, I think that's mixed in now. Some of this in here. I'll try not to be quite so heavy-handed with this one. I don't know if you can see that red cast to the mica powder. It's very pretty. So this is this sand is much finer than the other two. So what that'll mean in terms of bubbles, I don't really know. I think it mixes better anyway. Now if you can see this, it's actually settled quite well. It's releasing bubbles nicely. It also means that I'm not going to get too much of a demarcation line where the gravel settles and then the clear resin rises to the top. I'm not entirely sure that's going to be enough anyway. So I'll do these two and I'll leave the third one until I see how much resin these two take, in case I need to steal that resin. Okay, so this one is releasing its bubbles much better, as I said. Where's my, here it is. I've just got some isopropyl alcohol in here. I'm going to spray that there to help clear the bubbles. Okay, let's pop that out of the way and start with the darker pink one. I'm hoping I'm in shot here for you to see what's going on. I'm going to put a smallish amount into each one and let that settle to the bottom. And do the same with this one. And then I'll give it a squish to just make sure that there are no bubbles settling in the down here. Sorry, brain's not functioning this morning. I've been back in the UK. I only actually flew back in last night. It's fairly early on a Sunday morning now. So that's going to need a little help to get down into there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just gently, if you can see what I'm doing, just gently go around the edges. Make sure there are no bubbles trapped in here. And so far so good by the looks of it. There's one or two little ones in there. There we go. Not sure how much you can see of that, but hopefully you can see okay. Okay, so this is going to be slightly more complicated because the hole is smaller, obviously, and I have to push it down. Also trying to be very careful not to scratch the mould. You want to fill this one as best I can first, so I can see how much it actually takes. Obviously with the wider neck to this part, it goes in easier. I'm definitely going to have to wet this a little more. Okay. I'm probably going to fast forward through all this now anyway, because it's kind of boring just watching me poke this into the mould. Hi, way back, and these are ready to demold. Now I'm going to do them in the order I made them. Now the sand that I used, or more of a fine gravel and sand really, I can see already that there's going to be quite a lot of bubbles in here. That's not an issue with the mould, that's an issue with me and the way I made them. I'm just hoping that they're flexible enough to get out of the mould really. I'm going to start this off and see if I can get some isopropyl alcohol down in there to break the seal between the mould and the resin, to just make it much easier to get out. You can see the mould separating from the resin here, getting some air down in there, and some alcohol obviously. Okay, see, is that getting underneath? No, not really, but I think it should be reasonably. No, I'm not going to say that, because every time I say that it goes wrong. Okay, let's give this a go. Sorry, I'm not in shot there. Okay, this is not going to be anywhere near as easy as I'd hoped, but me and my big mouth, eh? Oh, there you go. So the inside is beautifully smooth. The outside, unfortunately, quite a lot of bubbles. I'll probably fix that up with some UV resin. That's part 2 of the same one. Just hold that back while I get some alcohol down in that. Oops. Yeah. Doesn't want to go. Probably the angle I'm doing it at. Got more down the outside of the mould than I got in it, I think. And again, just squish it around. Work the alcohol around as much as I can. Probably have to put a drop more in, but it is separating quite nicely. There you go. And get it right down to the bottom there. Okay, let's give this a try. These molds are actually nice and flexible. Must much easier to demold than I'd feared. There you go, and the same with this one. We just have quite a lot of bubbles here. So pop that on. It's a really nice fit actually. I'm really pleased with the mould, not so much with my use of it, but I am pleased with the mould. So thank you BeeBeeCraft for that. So second one, again, so with this one I use a much finer sand, as I showed you, and hopefully that should mean we're going to have less bubbles, but here we go. Again, just work this around. So this one's not quite as bad, it's still got a lot of very small bubbles, but you can also see the separation here where the sand sank and the resin itself just floated to the top. It's not bad. Looks very pretty. Hopefully it'll look even prettier once I've got it all cleaned up and the holes filled in. That's not actually a hole, I don't know what that is. Okay, so yeah, tea light fits really nicely inside there. I would not recommend using actual candles. If you're going to use these as candle holders, you're better off with the battery type. I would switch this on to show you, but the battery's flat. Because resin and heat don't really mix that well. Yeah, overall, I'm not desperately unhappy with them, but I wish I'd done a better job of getting the bubbles out. I will get this cleaned up, get some UV resin into these holes and hope for the best, and get you some photos. And I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks again to BeeBeeCraft, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye.